Hello everybody, my name is Benny and welcome to The Fool's Apprentice. So today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of an oracle deck that I absolutely love. Now this is an oracle deck that has been out for a little bit. There are some videos out there, even the creator made a video of it. It is When Olga Speaks, and it is from Sasha Lopez. And I have been looking forward to this Kickstarter for a bit, but I absolutely understand that there's a lot going on in Sasha's life right now with grad school, and having been someone who has gone through grad school, let me tell you, it is like boot camp. And it requires a lot of time, especially if you have to work part-time and then do grad school and write all the papers and do the presentations and do the research and blah, 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 blah. It's a lot. So having that perspective, I'm going to wait. However, I was able to get a copy gifted by a very sweet woman from another tarot channel. And I have been loving this deck so much. Like, I remember looking at the video and I got 3 cards in and I was like, oh my God, I love that deck. It's a collage deck. I'm not particularly fond of collage decks. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm not necessarily drawn to them. I do have a few, some really nice ones, but I don't know. There was something about this deck, and I think I figured out why. Part of the reason I think is because I really love like the 1970s. I like that aesthetic. I like the colors I just like even the 50s. Those movies and the TV shows, and it's just a different world, and the way they dressed and the way they decorated their homes, and I just love all of that. Well, it turns out that she used the images from Time magazine from the 1960s and 70s. And so I was like, that is why I'm drawn to a lot of these photos or these images. It's because it's from a time frame that I really like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera over. We're going to look at why I like this deck so much. I'm going to give some background on the deck. And she actually contacted me from one of my videos, left me a little message that I'll share with you. So let's revisit When Olga Speaks and see what I think about it. All right, one moment. And I am back. So, Precious decides that she wants to play around. So if you hear like jumping around in the background or honking, that's because she's playing with her toys. She's in a good mood. She's glad I'm home. It's the end of the work day. And the first thing I wanted to do is make a video so that I could share this wonderful deck with you. Again, it is When Olga Speaks from Sasha Lopez. This is what she calls an analog collage oracle. And of course, these were made from Life magazine images from the 1960s and 70s that she put together. And what I love about this is a deck that she created with the memory of her grandmother, Olga Miranda Fernandez, which I think is absolutely beautiful. Now, I just love these images. And so she ended up putting this on Kickstarter in July, I think it was July 2023. And it only made 36% of what she was looking for to reach her 100. I didn't do the math, but she had 59 backers. So I know that there is interest in this deck. And ever since it came out and people have been posting images and videos of it, the interest has actually grown quite a bit. There are 56 cards, and the Kickstarter didn't make. But on October 18th in 2023, she did post an update on Kickstarter where she talked that the Kickstarter was still going to happen. And then on October 18th, she had gone halfway through the guidebook. It was going to have 100 pages, and which was 50 sheets, front and back. So there is going to be a guidebook, and let me tell you guys, I want the guidebook. I want to know why she chose these images, why these words came up for her with these images, and what they mean to her. Do I need a guidebook for this Oracle deck? No, I don't. But I would like one, because it's really nice to get an artist's perspective on what the images mean to them. But specifically for me, the reason I really want the guidebook is I'm hoping that there'll be more information about her grandmother, what inspired this particular deck for her, why she chose the images, and how they relate to her memories or to her grandmother. So I think that would be wonderful, wonderful information. And if I remember correctly, this is the first card that she ended up creating. I like the fact that it has like a semi-gloss, but when I work with it, it's not really that glossy. I just love the colors in this. I love how she mixes black and white with some colors in the background, how she uses florals in here. It's a very, very, very interesting deck for me. Now, I ended up putting this in my Unicorn 23 hashtag, and she responded, and I saw she responded to me in that video thanking me for putting it in there, but she also updated me telling me that she was going to still have a Kickstarter for the deck, but school had really been taking a lot of time from her, which, as someone who's gone to grad school, I absolutely understand, as I said at the beginning of this video. I did reach out, or I did ask her to contact me. Reason being is, when she does the Kickstarter, Sasha, I would love to have you on to talk about your deck. I have questions. I'm sure a lot of people have questions that they would like me to ask. If you have questions for her, in case she does decide to come on, please put them in the comments. I will save them. But this is a deck I've been waiting for quite some time. I'm going to set this one aside. But a lot of these words, these keywords she has, I find very, very interesting. Cleansing ritual. I'm like, wow, like that's not a keyword I've ever seen before. And so I just think that obscure, that's another one. So it has a lot of words that I don't necessarily am used to seeing in Oracle cards. Now, she does say that there are 8 archetype groups and they are represented with colors as well. So as you can see, the keywords and the borders are different colors. So, and you have to excuse me, guys, it's allergy season. And they are separated by color and by these stars at the end. So let me see if I can find all 8. And because when I watch some walkthroughs, I never really paid attention to that. And I haven't really found anything that kind of explains how that works, how to use them. But she does say in her video that the guidebook will explain it, but it's not necessary to use the deck with those 8 archetypes the way she has them. So, and I really can't figure out how the colors work with those archetypes. Okay, so storyteller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8. So let's see if the colors, let me zoom out. I want to see if I can separate them by color. All right, let's see. Because I don't think they were that way when I first saw them. Okay, let's see. We got Hope, which is a yellow. right? See, and that doesn't really match anything. There's this green, which doesn't really match anything either. So I wonder if they're shades, and there's a purple, so it doesn't really match by color. Here's a bluish green. So the guidebook for me in this regard, I think, will be important. So yeah, I don't know. So that in itself tells me that. So let me get all that out, and let's look at these archetypes a little more. Let me zoom back in, and let's see what these archetypes are. Okay, so we got the healing child, the seeker, okay, the elder, that feels like a traditional archetype for me, the protector, the ally, okay, the strategist, and the storyteller. All right, the seeker, okay, the healing child is one that I'm going to kind of have to think about as an archetype. These other ones, they make sense to me. This is such a beautiful image. So I've been using this deck for a couple of weeks now and love it. Every once in a while I get thrown. And so what happens with me sometimes is I get stuck and I want to rush it and I don't. I will tell you that my favorite deck to pair with this right now is the Spoiler Tarot. I love these two together. They just seem to work really well. I don't know, I just get a really good feeling with them. Let's see if I can move this over a little bit so it's not so, the glare isn't so much. Okay, and these really work well together. I just love the way they look. I just think the energy works well. They're both collages. I like the color tones together. I think those work really, really nice. I haven't really worked with the Spoiler Tarot with anything else. I'm sorry. Well, actually, that's true too. I haven't worked with either of these decks with any other decks. Did that sound right? I didn't work with any of these decks with any other decks. I have not worked with Olga Speaks with any other tarot deck, and I have not worked with a spoiler with any other oracle deck. But I just really, really like how these work together. Oh, look at that. That's an interesting one. Oh man, did I make? I did. I hate when I have some reversals because I don't read reversals. That annoys me. But isn't this a beautiful pairing? I just love it. Oh, I got to talk about ambiguous grief. Okay, guys. I have never heard ambiguous grief together, those two words together. And I find that combination fascinating. And it really does give me it gives me another category, because, there's all different types of grief. There's disenfranchised grief. That's the kind of grief that people don't talk about. So a mother who has a miscarriage, people don't really want to talk about that. Or someone who commits suicide, or someone who died of AIDS. Those are the kinds of deaths that people don't generally talk about. And so people are left alone with their grief. We have anticipatory grief. That's the kind of grief that people are anticipating. Someone's very ill, someone's near the end of life. That, someone is going to die. And so you're anticipating that grief to occur. There is complicated grief that, can be caused by multiple family members dying at the same time, or people who have died under odd circumstances, you know, where other people have a really hard time relating. Ambiguous grief, and she does explain it in her video, and I don't remember clearly what she says, but in essence, it is grief that just really isn't clear. And for me, this is the kind of grief that kind of lingers, and you don't know why you're grieving what you're grieving, or how to grieve something that's occurring, or grief that just kind of doesn't, I don't know, you just can't put it in a place where you can kind of describe it. It like, even trying to figure out how to define it is challenging. But there is this ambiguous grief that I thought was just, I'm just so glad that there's a deck that has that in it. But as you can see, this is a beautiful pairing. Like, this woman here, I wonder if that's her grandmother. I don't know, but I'm hoping that the guidebook will give me that information. I love this. Soul ties, that's another keywords that I've not seen before. Resilience, I've seen that. But look at that. That's just amazing. So I want to show you my last, let me see. Okay. I want to show you my last pairing that I had. Let me find it, that I found interesting. Okay. So I think he's still down here. I'm looking for the storyteller, unless I just passed it up and didn't realize it. Because what I've been doing recently is I have been pulling one oracle card and one tarot card. Here he is. And when I pulled these cards, I was a little stumped. And so I'm really good about, and then there was another one. Did I have the other one too? No, it's this one. So at first I was kind of stumped with this combination. And I was trying to force it and I'm really good about not forcing a message to come up. And then a message started to come up and I didn't like it. So I stopped. I was like, nope, not doing it. And then I caught myself and I'm like, no, you can't do that. That's the message. And so I had to sit with it a little longer, and I just allowed the cards, because what happened is I didn't like the feelings that were coming up, and that's what was causing me to want to stop whatever was coming up. And in essence, this became a reading where it dealt with money. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about money. But I recently ended up making a purchase that I don't regret it, but I should have waited. I should have waited. It was almost impulsive, but I don't know why I'm trying to be secretive. So what happened was, my nephew, who I'm very close to my nieces and nephews, Wicked is coming out, right? The movie Wicked. And one of my nephew's favorite artists is Ariana Grande, who's is in the movie. So I sent him the trailer, and then he messaged me back how he wished he would have been able to see Wicked while it was in town. So I looked to see if it was anywhere nearby, and it is. It's an hour and a half drive in Austin. So I asked him if he wanted to go. He said yes. I asked him what he could afford, and then I got some tickets. But I forgot about, all the extra charges and the parking, and it became a lot of money. I don't regret buying it because it's going to be a wonderful experience for both of us. He's never been to a Broadway show. He'll remember this forever. But I had a moment when I was like, God, Benny, you should have thought this through before purchasing it. So then that was yesterday. Today, I got these cards, and basically it was telling me that I really need to be careful, that I've worked really, really hard in my savings and making sure that I am taking care of myself. And that's not only financial, it's other areas in my life that I've worked really hard to make sure that I'm taking care of. And here, what happens is sometimes I will end up telling myself a story or convincing myself or talking myself into making a purchase that I could have waited on. And usually that happens when something comes up that is drawing me in that I had no plans in buying to begin with. And so this particular when they came out, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it because I should have waited to buy the tickets yesterday, but I didn't. And this was, a message of like, well, you got to be careful. You can't be doing this. So be mindful of what you think and what you do. And it's true. And so the message was very, very clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be buying anything that I don't need to buy to get back to where I was. And then just continue to be careful because I'm pretty good with my money overall. But I found it interesting that I didn't want to hear the message. I did not want to hear the message. But I found these two cards together a bit challenging, which also was very interesting because usually I get a sense of what the cards are trying to tell me and I write them out and I'm done. But this time it was a process and it was a very interesting process. And I'm sitting here smiling thinking, wow, yeah, you needed to hear what you didn't want to hear. I don't know if that was interesting or not, but that was my experience with these two cards. Isn't this beautiful? I just love this. Really works well together. All right, let me flip the camera over and I'll have some parting words. Okay, I'm back. So that last part, I had no intentions on sharing anything about my readings or how that worked about, but I just think this is a beautiful deck to work with. It just really tells me what I need to hear, as you saw. But it also just, I don't know, this deck is very comforting to me. If I remember correctly, I think she uses it for some ancestry work, but I think she's very clear that it doesn't have to be used that way, which of course I'm not using it that way. But it's gonna get produced. It's gonna be on Kickstarter. We just gotta be patient, giving her time to get it done. I'm excited. I didn't get a box. It didn't come with a box. She gave it to me in a bag. I don't think she got it when it was in a box. I want the box. I want the guidebook. I'm interested to see if the cardstock is different than the one that I got. This feels, I don't know how to describe it. It feels a little waxy-ish. It's a semi-gloss. It's very bendable. It bounces right back, shuffles like a dream. I should have showed you that. The backs are really, really beautiful. I really don't have, until I get the whole package, I honestly, I don't find anything that I dislike with this deck at all, except is how the colors work with the text and the border. And I don't even know, maybe I'm misunderstanding. Yeah, having the guidebook is going to be important. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the colors and how the colors work within the deck. She has 8 archetypes and so I don't know. We'll see what she says. Until next time, my name is Benny, and I really, really, really hope that the Kickstarter is successful next time. She had 59 backers last time. So, and everybody talks about this deck. And when I say everybody, a lot of people. So I suspect that it'll make it the next time it goes out. I'll definitely be backing it for sure. All right. Until next time, my name is Benny, and I am the Fool's Apprentice. Bye, guys.